I think we're live. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Brooks. I am president of the SRL Group, and welcome to the Secrets of More Word-of-Mouth Referrals. There we go. SRL Group, for those who don't know what that means, SRL stands for Stop Referral Leakage. Referral leakage is not a medical condition, but rather the documented effect of when a new patient is referred to your practice but does not call. 75% of patients will search online after they get a referral for a new provider. If they don't like what they see, bad reviews, sketchy, incomplete profiles, they won't call. We call that leakage. SRL helps doctors to stop this referral leakage by making them appear more credible and referral worthy online, so you get more referrals to which you're entitled. And Jessica, could you maybe just give a brief introduction of yourself and WebMD?
Hello, my name is Jessica O'Shea, and I am with WebMD. We actually were bought by internet brands about a year ago and recently acquired vitals.com. So the WebMD brand is just continuing to grow. I'm sure most of you have heard of WebMD and have visited our site to check out some content or read an article. But now we are going through some pretty exciting changes where we are focusing on providers and featuring providers, and that's something I'll get into a little bit more.
Terrific. Thanks very much. So today we're going to talk about word of mouth or referral marketing, how and why it works psychologically with patients, how you can create more opportunities for word of mouth referrals, why it sometimes goes wrong, and how you can use branding and promotion to enhance your referral worthiness. So what's word of mouth? We kind of like this definition: a recommendation from a satisfied patient to another without perceived economic influence. Digital or not, word of mouth is powerful because it's perceived as trustworthy. In e-commerce, it's pretty common to imitate word of mouth marketing with various influencer programs. Think about bloggers or celebrities that review or recommend products on social media, blogs, videos, or news reports. But in healthcare, where there are strict ethical rules governing confidentiality and payment, word of mouth is more muted. Word of mouth in healthcare is likely to be more of an intimate nature since people are more circumspect about speaking about their own health conditions. Still, word of mouth is proven to be your best source of new patients. First, word of mouth referrals don't really cost anything. They happen when a happy patient thinks enough about you to recommend you to a friend or family member when the time is right. For example, when a patient recognizes a friend or family member in need, they are asked for a recommendation, best case, or they recognize a symptom and feel emboldened to motivate a prospective patient to take action. So you can imagine a conversation with a family member on the dinner table, like, say, you should really do something about that crooked smile, or something a bit more bold, like, hey, dude, your breath really stinks and you need to go to the dentist. So whatever the motivation, word of mouth can be a very powerful inducement to cause a patient to seek care. And next, when that patient acts on that referral, they're often serious, qualified, and motivated. They show up for appointments, they listen, they ask good questions. In marketing speak, we call these patients bottom of the funnel, and a term I'll explain that in just a moment. Finally, our research shows that patients referred by word of mouth are 3 times more likely to accept a case recommendation or a treatment recommendation versus a patient that you might get from the internet. So not only are these patients less expensive to acquire, you're much more likely to actually turn them into a high-value patient for your practice. Unfortunately, word of mouth is not what most doctors think about when they plan their marketing budgets. Most doctors fixate on strategies that are expensive and more difficult to convert into new patient. For example, doctors say things like, I want to rank #1 in search for dental implants Chicago, or #1 for breast augmentation Dallas. But that strategy relies on competitive and very expensive search terms. And these search terms imply that the patient is in the early process of seeking care. These are tire kickers. They're not ready to make an appointment. It's more important to focus on search terms that imply the patient is already committed to seeking care, or when they already have a provider in mind and they're doing due diligence. So here's a visualization of what I mean. And this is from a website called Track Maven, which I'd recommend highly. In marketing speak, patients starting at their search for a new provider at the top of the funnel, the research phase. Patients here are just considering an elective procedure or trying to self-diagnose an illness. They haven't yet focused on a provider. Top of funnel marketing involves things like pay-per-click or search engine optimization, SEO. Tactics that bring in lots of potential traffic, but tactics that are expensive and require a high degree of competency. Ultimately, these patients are using your marketing to become educated, just that they're not ready to make an appointment. Later, as they learn more, patients start to become more focused. They search for information on specific procedures and begin to evaluate specific providers. Further down the funnel is where you can find the more serious patients. Patients that have already decided to seek care, now they're just trying to find the right provider. And they often reach out to friends or family looking for recommendations. So word of mouth patients are ready to buy patients. The question you must ask yourself is, will they call me? So when new patients ask your patients for recommendations, what exactly is going on? Well, according to a survey conducted by Texas Tech University, 83% of satisfied customers refer products or services willingly, but only 29% actually follow through. So why do only 1 in 3 people want to give referrals? And how do you improve those stats? The answer is found in social science. Social scientists use the term reciprocal altruism to describe the behavior of backscratching. When you do something above and beyond and exceed expectations, patients start to form a deeper relationship with you. They have greater trust, a greater sense of obligation, and they feel motivated to reciprocate, to do something that benefits you, to return the favor, or in technical terms, to reciprocate the altruism. By the way, that reciprocal feeling can result in a strong online reviews and strong referral requests. So how do you accelerate that process? Well, you want to do things that deepen the relationship with your patients. First, think about the entire office experience from the patient's point of view. A friendly office staff or a level of care that really exceeds the patient's expectation. A friendly greeting, a great process, little or no waiting, or fair warning if things are going behind schedule. Next, think about following patients on social media accounts or engaging them with useful emails and newsletters. Newsletters and frequent posts with useful, interesting content is another way to demonstrate engagement. If you or your marketing advisor is doing things on social media like Happy July 4th, you're not doing it right. Even a patient recall program demonstrates that you care enough to track the patient's well-being while you're gently reminding them to return for a necessary checkup or a visit. So here's a fascinating statistic about word-of-mouth referrals. 81% of patients that receive a recommendation for a provider will search online for information about that provider before calling the office. And this makes sense. In an environment with higher copays and decreasing coverage, people will double-check a physician recommendation before spending their own money. And so it's super important to have an outstanding online reputation. You are literally selling yourself to a careful shopper. Your online reputation needs to match those expectations. So what stops a referral? Well, according to a survey published by Doctor.com, 90% of prospective new patients admit they will change their minds about seeing a provider who has had poor online reviews. That's a pretty scary statistic. Here's another roadblock, a general poor online reputation. Google and other search engines use consistency in your name, address, and phone number to determine search ranking. Consistency equals credibility. Credibility equals trust. Trust equals higher search rank. Patients in search engines tend to be wary about doctors that have sparse, sketchy online profiles, no pictures, bad or old reviews. Patients and search engines tend to trust doctors that have more complete profiles with accurate, impressive credentials, lots of current reviews, and nice photos. So here's kind of an online credibility checklist that I think hopefully you should know, but it's worth reviewing. These are the general things that never really change. Right now, 70% of web searches are on a mobile phone. And so it's super important to have a mobile-friendly, secure, it's a SSL certificate, and a fast website. You should be claiming your Google My Business listing. It's free, painless, and it really helps secure your search position. You should look at investing in claiming your directories, your listings on the top 5 healthcare directories, and have an active review program, making sure that you have great photos, and look at extra credit opportunities. We'll talk about that, and that's one of the reasons why we're working with WebMD. Talk about how you can enhance your presence and enhance your brand online. So one final aspect about reviews. Researchers at Stanford showed that people tend to grossly underestimate how likely others are to grant a favor. And I know that sometimes desk personnel are a little bit, or even providers are a little bit shy, bashful about asking for reviews or asking for referrals. The researchers at Stanford concluded that when people are asking for a help or favor, they're kind of focused on the mindset of, well, gee, must be a really big ask. But the researchers found that the potential help giver is asking a different question. How awkward would it be for me to say no? So put this in the context of your own practice. Asking a patient for a review or referral isn't nearly as awkward as a good patient refusing to do you a favor. Marketing experts suggest that the best time to ask a patient for a referral is immediately after a successful treatment regimen. This is a powerful inflection point when the patient's satisfaction level is highest and when they're most likely to reciprocate. And the move is to compliment and reaffirm the good results, and then pivot to a sense of obligation and reciprocity. Would you mind giving us a review? Or, we're always looking to help others with similar cases. Please be sure to tell us, talk to your friends about us, or if you see other people that have a similar condition, please share your experience. And then make it smooth and seamless. Some practices use a special share the care kind of card. You can have a referral link in email footers, things like that. SRL Group is actually working on a new product that will embody this whole kind of word-of-mouth marketing platform, and we'll be launching that later on in the first quarter of next year. So now I'd like to turn the microphone over to Jessica. One of the best ways to establish an image of trust and prominence is to invest in a featured profile on some of the major healthcare websites. And one of the best places that we found is on WebMD, the most popular consumer healthcare education website in the United States for sure, and possibly the world. I'll let Jessica describe that a little bit better. So Jessica's here to explain a little bit more about the enhanced provider profile, which is a brand new feature on WebMD. Jessica?
Yes, thank you, David. You can go ahead and change the slide. That'd be great. So over 100 million people are coming to WebMD a month. I'm sure most of you listening have been to WebMD before. They're coming to read content, articles, research symptoms they need treatment for. It's clearly a site that people know and they trust. People have always used WebMD for the content, but now we are transitioning what I like to call content to care. So not just the content, but we want to provide an easy way for people to find healthcare providers in their area. Just using our Find a Doctor directory, we have 7 million people a month, and that's just 7 million people searching for a new healthcare provider in their area. 1.5 million monthly are searching for a new family doctor in their area. So I would say family medicine is definitely the top of our search monthly. Just a couple more fun statistics. Monthly, we have 800,000 people looking for an internist and over 250,000 people seeking a new dermatologist. Go ahead and change the slide. That'd be great. Most of our traffic, I would say, is starting on Google. I'm sure most of you, that's kind of where your searches are starting as well. You're interested in something that you would like information on, or you're looking for a new doctor. There's a treatment that you're looking to research, so you're going on Google. People are searching condition that they need the treatment for, and then they're finding WebMD most often as a top option. After they come to WebMD, they're transitioning inside to our Find a Doctor directory. There can be thousands of basic profiles within the directory to sift through. Where a physician lands in that is pretty random. So that is definitely one of the benefits already of just, being seen at the top and not having to be, stuck in 50 pages of basic profiles. So our new enhanced profiles, when someone is searching a condition that you treat or one of your specialties, that profile is guaranteed premium placement at the top of the directory. We only allow 3 profiles to be featured because we all know most of us do not look past the first few options. Credibility is important in my opinion, especially when it comes to your healthcare. It's hard to stand out from your competition. Using one of our enhanced profiles on WebMD, it's an easy, effective way to do that. Having prominent placement and detailed information surpassing your competitors is a way to validate your presence online. This will, one, attract new patients, whether they come to your profile directly or they're coming through a word-of-mouth referral, and finding you organically doing a search on WebMD. What's coming in 2019? So this is all the exciting stuff because this is a fairly new program. We are just getting started and, we really are growing. So there's a lot of exciting things that will be coming in 2019, cross-selling between patient information and featured providers. This will be providing a seamless way to find a doctor within the content that people are already viewing. We're going to be changing the look and the functionality of our directory to make it even more prominent. This will make it easier for the consumer and allow additional marketing strategies such as, advertising within the right rail, maybe something specific that the doctor wants to be featured for. We'll also be able to have a broader selection of conditions and procedures treated that are highlighted within the profile. So we're just going to be expanding on the conditions and the procedures that people can search for, and then improving that search functionality and even being able to add custom conditions that people would like to treat. There's definitely other directories providing information about specific doctors where WebMD differs. We are definitely catching people, I would say, right when they are doing research about what they need treatment for. We're then providing them a quick option of a physician in their area that they trust. This is definitely a game changer. We are catching them right when they are doing this research instead of them having to go to multiple provider sites. They already trust WebMD, so, looking at that content and then transitioning to find that healthcare provider. This is going to not only give you more exposure to build your brand, it's also going to give you the credibility that will allow you to bring in more of those patients that are at the top of the funnel coming from a referral source. And I think I'll let you, David, handle the conclusion of our webinar.
Great. Okay. Sorry, a little bit of mouse problems here. So in conclusion, I think, one of the things that we always want to stress with people, word of mouth referrals are your most valuable source of new patients. They're much less costly and they're much more effective. The patients tend to be better because they're seriously committed. There's a high level of trust, which results in higher case acceptance. We think the process of word of mouth can be accelerated, partly through software that we're working on, and partly just on creating a referral-worthy image for yourself. For every 10 patients that recommend you as a provider, you should be getting those 10 and looking at the reasons why maybe people are not calling. It's something where if your profile online, would you visit you as a doctor? And a lot of times we like to focus on professional credentials and enhancing the existing credibility of providers because patients are very educated and they want to choose accomplished providers that have excellent academic accomplishments, extensive history, great online reviews. So if that's out there, you deserve it to yourself to make sure that everyone can see that on a consistent basis. And you do that by fixing your online presence and making sure that you avail yourself of every free opportunity, but also paid opportunities such as the WebMD enhanced profiles. So with that, we'll take some questions. On the right-hand side of the screen, there is a question bar. Please feel free to type in your questions if you have anything. Before the show, someone had emailed me one, so I'll prime the pump with this question. This is Dr. Julie Brand, B-R-A-N-D-T. She says, if I focus on brand-only searches, should I not bother with unbranded terms? Okay, so in our presentation, we talked about the importance of having the bottom of the funnel, focusing on the bottom of the funnel of the patients. The reality is that those are not everyone is doing that. There's a low volume there. They're very high value, and you should be able to capture all of those patients searching for you. But you want to make sure that you also are attracting new patients who haven't yet come up with a provider name. So look at recognizing these people are early in their discovery process. They're doing a lot of it. They're trying to educate themselves on their illness, their condition. And if you can be that source of information, looking at content-rich websites that really get into a lot of explicit detail about conditions that you treat and procedures that you do. In addition, invest in technology that helps capture those people at the education part. So a pop-up form, asking people to either follow you on social media if you're active on social media, or capture an email, or be very cognizant of trying to capture those people early on in their education journey, and then make sure that you cultivate their interest with frequent and relevant emails, talking about new developments in the condition and things like that. It's very expensive to advertise all the time to be number one in a generic search category, but it's very inexpensive to capture those people who are early on in that discovery process. So email marketing, social media is a way to cultivate that until they're ready. And then likely they're going to call you because you're the one that took an interest in them early in their discovery process. By the way, I forgot to mention, but for those people that are on the call right now, we're actually having a special. So if you call that number 888-874-2018, we have been authorized to provide an enhanced profile on WebMD plus a free provider website. That's a provider website that's in your own name. It's your personal digital CV, which includes literally 8,000 different medically vetted articles that are available for you to curate and add for your specialty. So it's $500 off a enhanced profile plus 1 year of a free provider website. So please take advantage of that offer if you would. We have a question here. This is for Jessica. This is from Jim K. He says, how do you even register your name and practice with a WebMD? I don't see a link on the website to be able to register as a provider.
Yes, thank you. Great question. So if you'd like, we could actually set you up a basic profile. Most of the people that are calling to set up profiles, they are looking, to have more than the basic profile. But if you're looking to register your name and your practice information, that's something we can assist with at WebMD. A lot of the basic profiles have been set up just by a third party in the past. And a lot of the information is just kind of being data dumped and pulled in from other directories. So if you're a physician, who also sees that you have incorrect information, that's something, that we may not be aware of. So you can go ahead and reach out to us and we'll get that corrected for you as well.
And I know from our point of view, when we work with WebMD, they're very good about accepting detailed research and really making sure that everything is maxed out in terms of professional credentials, accomplishments, credibility. The research department there has been very good and very accommodating. Our own process is to work with the doctor to get a copy of the CV, create what we call a digital CV, and then to circulate that with WebMD as well as most of the major websites that are out there. We realize it's a time-consuming chore, but we gladly take that on for our clients. Okay, here's another question. This is from Catherine B. Okay. What are the primary differences between WebMD, the directory, and others that are out there? And I'm assuming others is probably, like HealthGrade, ZocDoc, RateMDs, and all the other ones. I'm going to start first, even though it's Jessica's question. I'm going to start first on this one. The one big thing that we like about WebMD is the fact that it's trying to engage people earlier on in their journey, because there's so many people. There's over 100 million people that visit this site every day. We think that there's a great story here about introducing a provider earlier in the process. Many of the other doctor lookup directories are when a patient already has the name. But WebMD's approach, I think, is more exciting because we're now introducing a new provider higher up in the funnel. And that, I think, is an exciting, especially for a provider that's trying to establish themselves or build a reputation. So,
and if I could add to that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I would say that I think what really sets us apart is what a large audience we have, and just the amount of people and traffic that we have coming to WebMD. And then especially, that we are guaranteeing, visibility when people are doing searches within the directory. Because I know a lot of the other directories, even though, if they're using it to like book appointments, they may be featured in that area, but they can't exactly guarantee where they're going to be in that list. And, we only have 3, so you're always guaranteed to be within the top 3 providers in your area. So that's definitely going to establish, a large amount of credibility being featured at the top of WebMD.
And yeah, I agree. I think it's for those people that haven't gotten a name, it's a real game changer. And I think it's important to look at WebMD partly as a source of new leads. Certainly that's going to happen, but partly as a branding exercise. We tend to work with those providers that have already made a significant investment in AdWords, in other reviews. So it's very easy for them to also see the value of being a featured provider on one of the most highly trafficked healthcare websites. There's no way to predict performance of that one. It's more about being in the right place at the right time. So when people are making a decision, this is another factor they're considering, and seeing a provider at the top of search listings for certain specialties is just one more tick in the box to say, yeah, I want to call this person because they are a highly credible person. And that's another way you can prevent referral leakage, is by being credible in all places. This is a medical clinic from Texas, and they're asking, does WebMD allow a manager login, sign in for a group of multiple physicians? I know from our experience, yes, we've seen that. We have several clients that are a larger group practice. Jessica, did you want to speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm assuming that they're referencing our enhanced profile information, and yeah, absolutely. We provide a dashboard, and the login can be for as large of a group as needed, basically. Yeah, so we definitely have larger groups that we work with, practices with multiple doctors, and it's kind of overseen by one person or multiple emails that we have attached to that dashboard. So that's no problem.
Okay. So this is another question from Bharat V. He says, what is a reasonable budget for AdWords? Well, okay. I honestly, I think that might be the wrong question. Before you can create a budget, you really must understand how much value, the lifetime value of that new patient. And then you want to calculate, after you've covered all of your overhead expenses, how much of that will be net profit that you can bring to the bottom line. So that's, sometimes we work with providers where it's the lifetime value of the customer or the patient maybe is only $1,200 or $2,000, and not every patient is even going to spend that much. And so using a very expensive thing like AdWords is probably not going to be practical. However, an esthetician, a cosmetic dentist, a cosmetic surgeon, certainly a case could be worth $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. So it totally makes sense to use AdWords and to spend maybe upwards of $1,000 to get that patient, because the incremental value to your practice is that much stronger. You can see, though, that it's very important that you have solid analytics before you enter into this. If you're going to spend even $1,000 a month on something, it's very valuable to know whether was it worth it. Did you create a new lead that turned into a customer, and what exactly drove that? So we always recommend to our clients to have robust analytics first before they start doing pay-per-click, and really understand the true value, so they don't overspend, or frankly, they don't underspend on getting new patients. Let's see here. There's another chat question. So Greg W. is asking, is WebMD the proper site for orthodontics? Are there similar sites? So since we have Jessica here, let's talk specifically. Jessica, is there any, do you have any statistics about which specialties are more highly searched on your site, and what's your sweet spot in terms of inquiries and patient engagement?
Yeah, so I would say that absolutely WebMD is a great place for an orthodontics practice, just because, like I referenced earlier in the webinar, people are starting their search on Google, looking, researching something that they need to be treated for. And we have plenty of dental articles on WebMD. Also, in 2019, we are going to be transitioning to separate search tabs for a medical doctor versus a dentist, so a physician versus a dentist. So there will be like a find a dentist directory, basically. But even right now, we have plenty of dental and orthodontist practice who are using the enhanced profile. I'm just really quickly trying to find some specific search data to give you on orthodontics. Yeah, so we get about, it looks like we have about 115,000 people searching for a dentist monthly. And from there, I would say about a third of them are looking into specifically orthodontics.
Wow, that's amazing. Greg is also asking if the easiest approach for patients to do reviews it gets too cumbersome and complicated, and I would agree. There's a lot of different platforms that are out there that, some people, I know that one provider will actually give you a laptop to put into your waiting room. Others use more of an email method. We actually have access to software. Some of our customers, our clients, are using this to engage patients. The key thing you want to look for is not forcing people to leave reviews in one place, and to really make an emphasis to leave reviews on public sites that matter. So, Google, Facebook, those are the places. Yelp is one exception. They do not condone having anyone even trying to solicit reviews. They take a very strong approach that review solicitation is considered bad form. Most other review publishers are of the attitude of you shouldn't cherry pick. They talk about review gating. So you want to make sure that everyone has a sort of an equal opportunity to leave you a review, good, bad, or other. That opens up a whole can of worms. We'll talk about that another webinar. But in general, yeah, there's several different platforms. Greg, if you give us a call, I can give you some specific recommendations. Okay, I think that is, I don't see any more questions in the queue. Again, if you are interested in this special that we have, it's a WebMD enhanced profile plus 1 free year of a provider website that allows you to create personal branding on a single landing page, including medical articles that have great search content for you, please call 888-874-2018, and you can get $500 off of that package. So I think we'll conclude now. I thank you everyone for joining us. If you've missed part of this webinar, right after we end it, it'll be available for replay. And please share this with, if you found it interesting, please share with your social media. All of the shares will go back to the registration and everyone can watch the playback. Any questions, please email me at david@srlgroup.com.co. And Jessica, which email should people use if they have a question? Okay. No, she's muted. Okay. It's just email us and we'll be able to help you out with WebMD as well. Thank you everyone for joining us. I hope to see you next month with another webinar.